Hey guys, tonight we're stepping into a quiet city just before dawn, where the world hasn't quite woken up, and the streets still hold the silence of dreams not yet forgotten. You stand near the corner of a cobblestone alley. The sky is still wrapped in sleepy lavender, and the air carries the kind of hush you only notice when no one is watching. A gentle mist floats low across the ground, curling around your ankles like a cat trying to say hello. You probably wouldn't make it out here this early, unless something inside you longed to find something lost between yesterday's worries and tomorrow's promises. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And if you're feeling cozy already, drop your location and the current time in the comments. I love knowing where you're listening from. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You notice him first by the sound, the soft shuffle of bristles sweeping against cobblestone. Like the rhythm of someone patiently brushing away the past, he moves slowly, not out of age, but intention. His broom is worn, its wooden handle etched with tiny carvings, stars, feathers, a smiley face faded by rain. He doesn't just sweep litter. You watch him lean down and gently lift something invisible to your eyes, something he cups in his hand like a butterfly, and place into a small canvas pouch hanging at his side. Curiosity tugs at your sleeve. You take a few soft steps closer. Dreams, he says, without turning around. They fall when people forget them in sleep. You blink. Perhaps you misheard him, but his tone is warm, not mocking, like he's explaining the weather. He gestures toward the street. You see that shimmer there? Just above the sidewalk crack? You do. It's faint, like light through a dusty window pane. You wouldn't have noticed if he hadn't pointed it out. Someone left that dream behind around 3:15 a.m., he murmurs. Right after a sigh. Happens a lot. His voice sounds like warm flannel, soft, worn in, with a quiet lilt that makes you feel safe listening to it. You glance down again. That shimmer. Maybe it is something. Maybe it's nothing. But now you wonder. What if forgotten dreams really do fall? Like autumn leaves, and just need someone to notice them? He steps aside and motions for you to walk beside him. Only rule is, walk slow. Dreams don't like sudden movements. So, you do. The street feels different now, alive. In a very still kind of way. You begin to see flickers. A tiny kite tangled in a lamppost wire. A paper star curled in a gutter. A ribbon tied to a signpost with no explanation. They're not always whole, he explains. Some crack when dropped, some never quite finished forming. You nod, as if you've always known this. There's a sort of grace in how he works. He doesn't rescue dreams, he tends to them. Like a gardener turning soil in a forgotten patch of earth. You find yourself kneeling beside him, brushing your fingers against the cobblestones. At first, nothing. Then, a tingling warmth. Your hand rests on what looks like a speck of sea glass. But it pulses gently, like it's breathing. You lift it slowly. He watches you, smiling. That one's yours. You pause. I don't remember it. Most people don't, but that doesn't mean it's not yours. You slip it into your pocket. It glows faintly, as if grateful. A breeze curls through the alley, carrying the smell of rain that hasn't fallen yet. And somewhere in the distance, a bakery begins warming its ovens, flour and cinnamon dancing through the early air. I used to think dreams only lived inside us. You say aloud, not really expecting an answer. He hums thoughtfully. Maybe they do, but sometimes they wander out when the heart is too full or too tired. And they wait for someone kind to pick them back up. You walk in silence for a moment, letting that settle. There's something deeply comforting in his presence. Like an old book you forgot you loved, now open again to a familiar page. You realize you're no longer trying to understand it all. You're just walking. At the next corner, a soft flicker catches your eye. A piece of paper fluttering against a storm drain. You crouch, tug it free. It's blank, but warm to the touch. Like sunlight stored in a page. Another? You ask. He nods. Not all dreams come with a story yet. Some are waiting for someone like you to write them. That makes you smile. The sun hasn't risen, but the sky is lightening, pearlescent, soft as milk poured into tea. You hear birds beginning to try out their voices. One quiet note at a time. You didn't mean to stay this long. But somehow it feels like no time has passed at all. As the sweeper gathers the last shimmer near a bench, he turns to you. "People think I clean streets," he says. "And I do. But mostly, I just make space for dreams to return home." You glance around. The street, once quiet and cold, now feels like it's breathing again. As if every polished stone remembers something it once held for someone. You take a deep breath. There's a warmth in your chest you hadn't noticed before. Light, but real. And just before he turns to move on, he places something small in your hand, a folded slip of cloth, stitched with tiny stars. "For the next dream you find," he says. You tuck it into your pocket beside the glowing shard. As he walks away, his broom brushes softly behind him. The street glimmers in his wake, not flashy or loud, just quietly alive. And you stand there a moment longer, unsure of what you've just witnessed, but certain you want to keep walking. Because what if the world really is full of forgotten dreams, just waiting for someone to notice? You follow him, not out of obligation, but because something in your feet decides before your mind catches up. The air has that soft weight to it, like the quiet just after a lullaby ends. Your steps echo, but gently, like your soles are whispering to the stones below. The street sweeper doesn't speak at first, but his silence feels roomy, like a hammock tied between trees, meant for swinging in thought. The pouch at his side jangles faintly, not with metal, but like dried petals rustling against each other. You wonder how many dreams he's gathered tonight. 100? 1,000? And if they all hum together inside that small canvas bag, are they lonely, or comforted by each other's company? He pauses near a lamppost. Its bulb flickers once, then settles into a soft gold haze. There, at the base, something flutters. You kneel instinctively, drawn to it. It's delicate, a torn piece of pink confetti, barely the size of a fingernail. But it shivers like it remembers being part of a celebration. He chuckles, watching your careful hands. "That's someone's first, maybe. They whispered it during sleep, then turned away." You nod, not needing further explanation. You've whispered your own maybes before, those fleeting ideas that come between dreaming and waking. Too fragile to hold. Somewhere overhead, a crow calls once, then settles down again, as if remembering it's not time for noise yet. You rise and tuck the confetti into the cloth he gave you earlier. It feels right, as though it's being returned to something it never knew it belonged to. As you walk again, he speaks. "Most folks think dreams come big and loud, spotlights and brass bands. But they don't. They drift in like fog. They land quiet, like shy confetti." He smiles. "They're more whisper than shout." And you realize, you've been listening for the wrong volume all this time. At the next street corner, a breeze swirls around a trash bin, lifting a sheet of old newspaper. It curls in the air like a tired dancer, then lands at your feet. The headline is faded, but scrawled across the margin is a sentence in purple ink. "One day, I'll open that bakery with Ma." You hold it up. "Is this one recent? Could be last night, could be 20 years ago." He shrugs. "Time's different for dreams. Some wait, some don't." You smooth the paper and fold it gently. There's something tender about honoring a dream someone didn't chase, or couldn't. Like kneeling beside an abandoned garden and still believing something might bloom there. You walk in rhythm again. His broom glides. Yours is the step beside it. He tells you he once found a full dream floating in a fountain, wrapped in an old scarf, gently bobbing like it was on vacation. Someone must have left it there, thinking water would wash away the ache of letting it go. He said. You don't ask what he did with it. Somehow, you know he tucked it away. Like a lullaby you hum for a stranger when they don't even know they've forgotten the words. A soft rustle interrupts your thoughts. You look down. A leaf, paper thin and silver like moonlight, trembles in a crack between the cobblestones. You reach down and lift it gently. It has writing on it, delicate, looping script that reads, "What if I'm not too late?" You hold it close for a moment, not to keep it, but to feel it, that breath of hope, hanging in the question, so pure, so timid. The street sweeper sees it and nods slowly, his eyes reflecting some memory you're not meant to know. "That's a good one," he murmurs. "That one's still breathing." There's a hush between you, but it's the kind that doesn't need to be filled. You keep walking. Eventually, he shows you his cart. It's tucked between two buildings. Almost invisible, paint peeling. Wheels slightly bent, but inside are dozens of small drawers. Some labeled, others not. One marked, almost, and another, again. You open one, carefully. Inside, a tiny set of ballet shoes. Too small for anyone you know. But they carry the memory of movement. You swear the ribbon flutters when you breathe near it. He says, some dreams outgrow their dreamers. But still stay gentle. You close the drawer with a quiet nod. Like saying goodbye to a child you never met. And then something small shifts in you. You realize, this walk isn't just about collecting. It's about noticing, listening, softening. A slow smile rises before you realize it. Because what if that's all some dreams need? Not fulfillment, not fame, just someone to pause long enough to see them again? He gives you another cloth, a pale yellow one, stitched with a tiny blue feather in one corner. For the small ones, he says, they get cold easily. You tuck it into your other pocket. You don't say much more that hour. But you begin to notice every crack in the sidewalk holds more than dirt. Some hold faint echoes, faint glitter, faint maybes, and you start to wonder, if we all had pockets big enough, how many forgotten hopes could we carry until their owners remember them again? The sky begins to stretch, a hint of coral now edging the slate blue. The city is almost ready to stir. But for now, it still belongs to the quiet ones, to the broom and the footsteps, to the dreams so small they almost slip by, unless you're really looking. And tonight, you are. You follow him further into the quiet parts of the city, the ones people usually forget exist unless they're lost. Or chasing something. Here, the buildings lean a little more, like they've grown tired of standing tall. Ivy creeps where it pleases, and windows are often left half open, as if inviting night breezes to stay a little longer. It feels like a space held gently between waking and dreaming. The street sweeper walks slower now, not from fatigue but reverence. You begin to understand, this part of town has more delicate dreams. Older ones, maybe, the kind carried for so long they've become folded into people's posture and breath. He gestures to a stoop with a cracked teacup resting on the edge. It's been there a while, moss forming a soft green line around the rim. Inside the cup, a single silver marble. Someone used to sit here every afternoon. He says, thinking they'd write a book. Always began with tea, never got past the title. You look at the marble. It shimmers faintly, like it remembers the stories it almost became. You want to ask what the title was. But stop yourself. Some things are better left in their waiting. He doesn't collect this one. Just nods, as though acknowledging its choice to remain exactly where it is. And you realize, not every dream wants to be carried. Some are content to wait for their dreamer to return. The path curves. You pass an old mural, faded and cracked, but somehow still holding its colors. A child with wings made of clouds, reaching for a kite that's just out of frame. Beneath it, a few crumpled notes have been tucked into the brick. You gently ease one free. The handwriting is shaky. I'm afraid if I try again, I'll fail louder than before. You sit with it for a while, heart humming. It's not your handwriting, but it could have been. The street sweeper doesn't rush you. When you finally fold the paper, something inside you unfolds. A small breeze rustles a nearby tree, and you notice a single blossom has fallen onto the pavement. It hasn't broken, just rested. You pick it up, careful as ever, and place it in your cloth pouch. It smells like late spring, of things beginning again, even when no one's watching. He tells you, the softest dreams are the most stubborn. They don't shout to be remembered. They wait in door frames. They hum under your breath. You think of the humming you sometimes do while washing dishes. Wordless, automatic. Could those be dreams, too? Maybe. He smiles. You pause at a low wall where someone's drawn chalk stars in every shade of blue. Hundreds of them, each with a tiny word inside. Brave, enough, begin, forgive. You kneel to touch one that says, stay. It smudges gently beneath your finger, but the warmth of it lingers in your chest. The street sweeper leans against a lamppost and watches you, not like a teacher, but like someone witnessing a ceremony. He says, people forget, but dreams never hold that against them. That line sits in your bones. What if we gave ourselves that same grace? You reach for your pouch and begin to arrange the dreams inside, not to organize them, but to make room. You've collected more than you realized. Some are so light they barely register. Others have weight, like little secrets folded in napkins. As you walk again, the city's night noises return. A faraway car engine hums. Somewhere, a dog sighs in its sleep. And still, the sky refuses to brighten. It lingers in that in-between blue that makes everything feel infinite. The street sweeper stops near a bench. A velvet ribbon is tied to its armrest. He picks it up gently, runs it between his fingers, then hands it to you. Someone tied this here after a promise. I think they're still deciding whether to keep it. You turn it over in your palm. It's soft, faded at the edges, but it still holds its shape. You look to the buildings surrounding you, some dark, some lit from within, each one filled with lives in motion. Paused mid-dream, mid-regret, mid-hope, and in all that stillness, you wonder, how many dreams are quietly stretching their limbs, waiting to be noticed? You sit on the bench a while. The street sweeper joins you. Neither of you speak for a long moment, but the silence feels rich, like good soil. Finally, he says, "You've got a good eye for the quiet ones." You smile at the compliment. Not the kind you're used to, but maybe the kind you've needed. He continues, "Most folks chase the loud dreams, the gold medals, the firework love stories, but it's the soft ones that save us." You think of the small dreams you've had, the ones that didn't make it onto vision boards or into journal entries. Like wanting to laugh more, or remember someone's birthday, or watch the sunrise without taking a photo of it. Maybe those dreams matter just as much. He rises again. "Come on," he says. "There's one more alley I want you to see tonight." You follow him, the ribbon still in your hand. It trails a little behind you, like the tail of a kite. The alley is narrow, filled with string lights long since burned out. But there's a hush to it, a sacredness. You step in carefully. Along the walls are notes, drawings, tiny objects pinned up with care. A hair clip, a wishbone, a note that simply says, "Try again tomorrow." He gestures with open arms. This is the alley of still beating dreams. And in that moment, the air changes. You feel it in your skin, the heartbeat of everything unsaid, untried, unfinished. He hands you a small tag and a pencil. No one leaves this alley without adding something. You think. Then you write, "I want to live gently but fully." You hang it on a low nail, not far from a cracked mirror reflecting the moon. And when you step back, you swear your breath joins the quiet chorus of all the other maybes floating in this sacred place. The street sweeper nods. That one will shine for a while. And you believe him. The alley narrows behind you as you walk away, but you feel its hush echo in your chest like the softest bell. The ribbon you tucked into your pocket brushes your fingertips with each step, a whisper of promises still deciding whether to keep themselves. The street sweeper says nothing for a while, letting the quiet rearrange itself around your footsteps. The city seems more alive now, not in the loud, pulsing way of neon and taxis, but in the breath between breaths way, like it's humming to itself a lullaby older than memory. You pass a wall where vines crawl up like cursive. Tucked between the leaves is a postcard. Someone had taped it carefully, corners neatly aligned. You peel it free, the adhesive gently giving way, and read, "I used to believe I'd always be afraid, but today, I held the door open and smiled at a stranger." It's unsigned. You glance at the street sweeper, who nods as if to say, "It's enough." You hold the card for a moment longer before slipping it into your pouch. He leads you down a street lined with shuttered bookshops. Their window displays frozen and forgotten themes. One features a pyramid of yellowing paperbacks. Another has a pair of tiny wooden shoes next to a hand-lettered sign that reads, "Once someone danced here." You pause to imagine it. Maybe the dancer wasn't trained. Maybe the music was only in their head. Maybe the shoes hurt, but they danced anyway. You smile without meaning to. The street sweeper stops at a door wedged slightly ajar. It creaks as he pushes it open, revealing a narrow hallway with shelves on either side, stacked with empty jars. Some are dusty, others sparkle faintly under a lone light bulb. You step inside. The air smells like lavender and old ink. "This," he says, "is where we keep the unspoken dreams." You walk slowly, fingertips grazing glass. Each jar holds something invisible but palpable, like the faint warmth of a smile not given, or the echo of a song someone never dared to sing aloud. You ask, why jars? He shrugs. Some things need space to be seen. And lids, just in case they get too eager. You laugh softly. It feels good here, not happy exactly, but right. You find one jar with a smudge shaped like a fingerprint. No label, no hint, but when you hold it up to the light, your chest tugs. Some say, he murmurs. These jars whisper when no one's looking. You close your eyes for a moment and hold the jar close. You don't hear a whisper exactly, but there's a flicker of something behind your ribs. A memory, maybe, or a wish so shy it only dares appear when your breath slows. You set it back on the shelf, careful to leave it where it was. He leads you deeper in, to a small table at the end of the hall. A journal lies open, with a pen waiting beside it. The last entry is dated 4 years ago and simply reads, I miss who I was when I believed. You look at the pen, then back at the street sweeper. He nods. So you write, I want to find out who I still am. And when you sign no name, it feels more honest somehow. The two of you step back outside, and the hallway door closes on its own. Not a slam, just a soft finality, like a period at the end of a letter. Back on the street, the sky has shifted again. Not lighter, not darker, just deeper, like it's beginning to trust you. A soft breeze lifts a few leaves from the curb, twirling them lazily before settling them again. The street sweeper watches them like he's reading a story only he understands. He says, most people think dreams are meant to come true, but maybe some dreams are just meant to keep us company. You walk for a while without talking. The silence feels like the space between heartbeats, essential and full of things you didn't know you needed to hear. Eventually, he turns down a quieter lane. There's only one lamp here, and its glow is gentle, like it's been dimmed on purpose for this moment. A wooden cart sits beneath it, covered in folded papers, all gently weighted down with smooth stones. You pick one up. The ink has faded, but you can still read the scrawl. Someday, I'll leave this city and start again near the sea. You hold it close. You've thought that, too, haven't you? The street sweeper chooses a stone and hands it to you. It's not for weighing things down, he says. It's for remembering how heavy hope can be, and how good it feels to carry it anyway. You cradle it in your palm, noticing how perfectly it fits there. A cat winds its way around your ankles, brushing its fur against you before trotting off, tail high. Another quiet companion on this dream-bound path. The street sweeper points toward a narrow bridge, barely wide enough for two. Over there, he says, is the place where people leave the dreams they no longer need. You pause at the foot of it. The boards creak under your weight, but it feels stable, trustworthy. At the center of the bridge is a small tin box, latched shut. He nods at it. You can leave one here. If you're ready. You sit, let your breath settle. You reach into your pouch and touch each item gently. Then, slowly, you pull out the note you found earlier, the one about failing louder than before. You hold it in your hands for a moment longer. And then, carefully, you place it in the tin. The latch clicks shut, and the wind sighs around you, softer than ever. The street sweeper doesn't say anything. But when you stand again, something in the way the night holds you says, well done. You cross the bridge and look back once, but only once. Then the two of you walk on. He hums something under his breath, a tune with no words, no end, just the steady rhythm of someone who's walked this path many times and still finds new things to notice. You match his pace, your pockets a little lighter, your heart a little fuller, and the city, somehow, a little more awake. The hum of the street sweeper's tune fades as the night tucks itself more tightly around your shoulders. You adjust the smooth stone in your palm, feeling its subtle warmth, like it's absorbed some quiet truth you're not quite ready to name. The two of you walk on, side by side, with no destination spoken aloud, just a knowing in your feet that they are being gently led. You pass an old clock tower, its hands stuck at a time that means nothing and everything. The chime doesn't ring, but you imagine the sound it used to make, soft, low, like a mother calling her children in from the dark. And just for a second, you wonder if time could stop in the middle of a heartbeat. Would we finally notice how much space there is between the ticks? You turn the corner and find yourself at the edge of a quiet square. It's paved in cobblestones, slick with memory. In the center is a fountain. Not grand or glimmering, but still and dry. Around its basin are benches, each one carved with a single word: listen, wait, return. The street sweeper sits without a word. You join him, and silence drapes over your shoulders like a soft blanket. After a while, he gestures toward the fountain's dry center. This, he says, is where forgotten wishes gather. Not failed ones, just the ones no one remembered to check on. You tilt your head. They don't disappear? He shakes his head. Wishes are patient. Sometimes they just curl up and nap. You step toward the fountain, half expecting to hear the sound of trickling water or see a flicker of light. Instead, what you feel is stillness, like a waiting room for dreams that never stopped hoping. You peer over the edge and see objects nestled at the base, tiny things. A child's crayon, worn down to a nub. A single ballet slipper. A pocket watch with a broken chain. A matchbox with one match left. Each one pulses softly, like it remembers the hand that held it once. You crouch down and whisper, "I see you." You don't know why you say it, but it feels important. The street sweeper joins you, pulling from his coat a glass marble, green as the sea at dawn. He sets it among the other treasures without ceremony. "I used to believe I'd travel the world," he says simply. You glance at him. You still could. He smiles, but his eyes stay on the fountain. Maybe, but some dreams become places to return to, not just chase. You sit back, letting the words ripple through you. Above, a wind stirs the trees lining the square. A few leaves drift down, circling lazily before resting near your feet. One lands in your lap, a soft curl of gold and rust. You run your fingers along its edge, and for a moment, it feels like holding a page from someone's journal. Maybe every leaf is a memory someone let go of. You tuck it into your pouch beside the postcard and the smooth stone. It fits perfectly. The square is quiet, but not empty. A woman with silver hair walks her dog in slow, deliberate loops. A young man naps on a bench, head tilted to the stars. Somewhere nearby, a violin hums through an open window, just a few stray notes. Like someone searching for the melody. You close your eyes. You imagine a world where every wish ever whispered into a pillow or scribbled into a notebook still waits somewhere. Safe and patient, you imagine someone sweeping them up gently, one by one, and tucking them into pockets. You imagine a dream finding its way back to its owner, years later, just when it's needed most. Some say, the street sweeper murmurs, dreams that don't come true in one life, wait for the next. You turn to him. Do you believe that? He shrugs. I believe in the waiting. And sometimes that's enough. You feel the soft ache of that truth settle in your chest, not pain, but something quieter, like longing without urgency. You rise, and he follows. The two of you leave the square behind, footsteps echoing softly on cobblestone. Soon you're walking through a corridor of trees, their trunks so tall they seem to be brushing the clouds. The lamps here are dimmer, casting long shadows that feel more like memories than darkness. The air is cooler now. Wrapped in it, you begin to think about the dreams you've left behind. Not abandoned, just paused, like unopened letters waiting on a windowsill. Some you outgrew, others grew wilder than you could follow. One or two you don't remember making, but somehow, you miss them anyway. The street sweeper stops at a tall iron gate. Its bars are rusted, but the latch moves smoothly when he lifts it. Beyond lies a garden, not lush or grand, but soft and wild, overgrown in all the right places. Moonflowers bloom along the path, their petals glowing like whispers. This is where we plant the dreams that need time, he says. You follow him in, letting the gate click gently closed behind you. Along the path are tiny markers, each one etched with a single phrase. Be gentle, wait again, you are already enough, come back when you're ready. You pause before each, letting the weight of their simplicity rest in your bones. At the center of the garden is a tree, older than any you've ever seen. Its bark is thick with ridges, like wrinkles from 100 years of listening. A swing hangs from one limb. The seat is a worn wooden board, the ropes frayed but strong. Without asking, you sit. The swing sways slowly, The night pressing in just enough to remind you how small you are, and how okay that is. The street sweeper sits beneath the tree, legs stretched out, arms behind his head. He doesn't speak, neither do you. The stars begin to blink their slow language above you. In this garden, silence doesn't feel empty. It feels like a conversation waiting to begin. And you let it. The swing creaks gently beneath you, each sway brushing the air with the sound of time stretching itself thin, like a page slowly turning. The garden around you hums not with sound, but with presence. You feel it in the soil, in the way the night doesn't press but instead leans in softly. Like it's listening. The street sweeper hasn't moved. He watches the sky through the branches, where stars blink like scattered embers in a dying fire. You wonder if he's reading something written in their light, some slow, celestial message meant only for those who take the time to be still. You lean back slightly, letting the swing cradle your spine. The wooden seat is smoother than it looks, worn by years of quiet reflection. And for a brief moment, you remember another swing, one from long ago, tethered to a childhood tree in a backyard that felt as wide as the world. You remember pushing your feet into the sky and thinking, maybe I'll never come down. But of course, you always did, and yet, some part of you never left that moment. It lingers, tucked into the marrow of who you are, like a folded note you never had to open because its message lived inside you. Some dreams, the street sweeper says softly, as if hearing your thoughts, aren't meant to be achieved. They're meant to shape you. You nod without speaking. You feel it now, that truth. That not everything has to become real to be real. He stands slowly, brushing the leaves from his coat. It's time to meet her, he says. You raise an eyebrow. Her? He smiles, tapping the brim of his cap. The woman who left the suitcase. The words settle into your chest like a new heartbeat. There's a pulse in them, one that quickens your steps as you leave the garden. Back through the gate that clicks behind you like a soft punctuation. You follow a winding path now. The lamps here flicker, not from age but from curiosity, like they're leaning in to see who walks this late. The stones beneath your feet feel different, less like ground and more like invitations. Each step feels like you're entering a memory someone else once lived. Soon, the alley opens to a long row of homes, narrow and tall, each with slightly crooked shutters and ivy crawling up brick facades like time refusing to be forgotten. You stop before one. It's the only one with a light in the window. A warm, amber glow that reaches out like an old friend's voice. The street sweeper doesn't knock. He simply opens the door and steps inside, holding it for you. The inside smells of lavender and old paper. A fireplace crackles in the corner, though no one tends it. The walls are lined with shelves, and the shelves are filled not with books, but with boxes. Dozens of them, hundreds, maybe, all neatly labeled with names. And in the center of it all is a table. At the table sits a woman. Her hair is long and silver, braided in a way that speaks of ritual. Her hands are ink-stained. Her eyes, clear and kind, meet yours as if she's been expecting you all this time. You've come far, she says, her voice smooth like satin aged with stories. You nod. I didn't even know where I was going. Most who matter never do, she replies. She gestures to a chair. You sit. The street sweeper remains standing, arms folded gently, watching. She opens a small suitcase on the table. It's nothing special to look at, worn leather, a brass latch, but when it opens, something quiet spills into the room. Not sound, not light, just presence. Inside are letters, dozens of them, folded, creased, yellowed with age. They're not mine, she says, her fingers brushing the top layer. They were given to me, left behind on trains, dropped in stations, forgotten in coat pockets. You lean forward. And you kept them? I read them, she says, smiling. Every one. Some were written to no one. Some were never sent, but all of them carried something. Tender. Unfinished. She lifts a letter and places it in front of you. It's addressed simply, to the one who listens. You hesitate, then open it. The handwriting is uneven, rushed, the ink smudged in places. But the words hold. I don't know if this matters. Maybe no one will read it. But I saw a man today give up his seat for a woman who looked so tired she could fall apart. And I cried, not because I was sad, but because kindness still exists. And I'd forgotten that. You finish reading and place the letter down carefully. Like it might shatter. She nods. People pour their truest selves into what they believe won't be seen. You look up. Why collect them? She smiles. Because someone must remember. Someone must say, I saw this. I heard it. It mattered. A pause. Then she adds, and because the street sweeper needed to find them. You glance at him. He lowers his eyes, suddenly shy. I didn't know why I was sweeping all those nights. I thought I was cleaning. Turns out, I was gathering. For her? You ask. He nods. For all of us. She stands and walks to a shelf, retrieving a box with no label. This one, she says, placing it gently before you, is yours. You blink. But I haven't left anything behind. Haven't you? She asks gently. You open the box. Inside, you find a small sketch on a napkin. A melody written on torn notebook paper. A list of places you once promised to visit. A key you don't remember losing. A photo of someone you used to be. It's you. All of you. The scattered pieces you forgot mattered. You don't speak. You simply breathe. And something inside you, something small and soft, unfolds. The woman closes the suitcase of letters. Some people sweep streets, she says, and others gather the echoes. Both are needed. Both are sacred. You close your eyes. The warmth from the fire brushes your face. The weight of the box grounds your hands. You're not lost. You're gathered. You carry the box for a while. Not because it's heavy, but because something in your palms seems to understand it needs to be held. Back outside, the night air greets you like an old lullaby. And the street sweeper walks silently at your side. Neither of you speaks. There's a comfort in the quiet now, as if silence itself has grown wiser, no longer needing to fill spaces with words. Your footsteps click softly against the cobblestone, echoing like gentle reminders that yes, you are here, and yes, you are moving forward. You look down at the box again. It's still closed, but you know what's inside now. It's not just scraps or forgotten fragments. It's proof that even the parts of you you've let drift are still waiting. Patient and whole, the street turns, and you follow, coming to a small bridge arched over a stream. The water below shimmers faintly, even without moonlight, like it's reflecting memories instead of stars. You lean on the railing, letting the wood cool your hands. What do I do with it? You ask finally, nodding to the box. The street sweeper gazes into the stream. You remember, he says. Is that all? He smiles, soft and knowing. What else is there? You let that settle. A breeze picks up, curling around your shoulders like a familiar shawl. Somewhere in the distance, a wind chime whispers, and just below that, the sound of the stream, constant, unhurried, and utterly sure of itself. Some say we're defined by what we do. Others say it's what we dream. But maybe, just maybe, it's what we remember with tenderness that tells the real story. You watch the water. You wonder if it ever forgets the shape of the stones beneath it. Or if it simply accepts them, carries them, polishes them into beauty without ever asking for anything in return. Do you know why I sweep the streets? The man asks quietly. Almost to the air, you shake your head. Because the world drops things. He says, little things, bits of hope, whispers of grief, flashes of joy too bright to carry. It doesn't mean to forget them. But it does, and someone has to be the one who remembers. You feel the words enter like breath, soft, essential. So you collect dreams? You ask. He chuckles. Not all of them, just the ones people forget they ever had. He turns then and begins to walk again. This time, you follow him through a narrower path, trees lining either side like gentle witnesses. Above, leaves whisper to one another. Below, moss pads your footsteps like the earth itself doesn't want to wake. The path opens to a clearing. And in that clearing, a train platform. It isn't modern or even particularly functional looking. It's more like a memory of a platform. Weathered benches, a lantern that glows even without flame. No signs, no destinations. But there's a train waiting. Old-fashioned, painted in soft cream and green. With golden lettering faded by time. Steam drifts lazily from the engine, curling into the night like exhaled dreams. You approach. What is this? You whisper. A place between places, he says, where dreams once dreamt come to rest. You look up at the train. Each window glows warmly, like a room lit just for you. A low chime sounds, not a whistle, more like a bell rung by memory itself. He walks to the edge of the platform and rests his broom against the wall, finally letting it stand alone. I was never meant to keep sweeping forever, he says, only until someone else understood. You tilt your head. Understood what? That broken pieces still shine. You watch him walk to the train, where a small conductor's hat rests on a hook by the door. He picks it up, dusts it off with a little smirk, and places it gently on his head. I'll ride now, he says, for a while, see what's further down the track. You look toward the door of the first car. It's open. He gestures to the platform behind you. Not for you yet, you still have walking to do. A soft disappointment flickers in you. But deeper than that, trust. Trust in this strange rhythm the night has brought. You nod. He smiles. You'll know when it's time. Until then, sweep gently. The door closes behind him with a soft click, and the train hums, not loudly, just a low, pulsing rhythm, like a heartbeat long remembered. The wheels don't screech as it pulls away. Instead, they whisper, metal on metal, history on rails. You watch until the last car disappears into the trees, steam curling behind like a ribbon lost in the wind. The clearing stills. You stand on the platform, box in hand, and for the first time, you don't wonder what comes next. Instead, you look at the ground and kneel, and you begin to sweep. Not because it needs to be clean, but because something small and glowing catches your eye near the edge. A paper crane, folded from a bus ticket. Someone's tiny wish. You pick it up, gently dust it off, and place it in your box. Because maybe that's the real reason you came. To begin remembering for others. The paper crane rests softly in your box now, weightless, yet somehow grounding. You run your finger along its sharp folds, tracing the care someone must have taken to make it. A wish, folded into a ticket. A journey, turned into a shape. You're not sure whose it was or where they hoped it might fly. But you hold it like it's yours now. You stand once more on the platform. Alone but not lonely. The clearing holds you like a lullaby. And though the train is long gone, its hum still echoes faintly, like the afterglow of a kind word or a memory just out of reach. You take one step off the platform, and then another. The night doesn't press in, it expands. It's as if with every quiet breath you take, the world breathes back. You return to the path you came from, though it looks different now. Softer, more alive. You notice how the dew beads on the edges of grass blades like tiny tears that never felt sad. And overhead, the stars no longer twinkle, they pulse gently, as if whispering something in a language you almost understand. You begin to walk again, this time with slower steps. It's not about getting somewhere anymore. It's about listening to the way your footsteps sound when they're not rushed. About noticing how the wind carries the scent of wood smoke and lilac. About feeling the box in your arms not as a burden, but as a promise. Somewhere along the path, you find an old wooden bench, half covered in moss. You sit. You let the night wrap around you like a familiar blanket, when you forgot you loved. The bench creaks a little, not in complaint, but in greeting. You smile. You open the box again. Inside, the letter scraps from the train station still rest there, as do the glowing pebbles, the shoelace locket, and now the paper crane. But something else has appeared, too. Something you're sure you didn't place there. It's a photograph, slightly worn, edges curled. In it, a young girl, maybe 7, holding a broom too large for her hands. She's laughing, and behind her, a trail of glittering dust. Her eyes hold something bold and unguarded, like sunlight caught in motion. You stare at it for a long time, and then you realize it's you, or someone you used to be, a version of yourself who once believed that sweeping the ground could change the sky. You blink slowly, and the air around you seems to shimmer, not with magic exactly, but with memory, the kind of memory that breathes. You lean back and let yourself imagine. What if every moment you've lived is still alive somewhere? Every skipped stone, every half-finished sentence, every heartbeat before a goodbye. What if they're not gone, but simply tucked into places like this? You close your eyes. For a moment, it feels like you're floating, not up, but inward, like you're sinking into the warm pocket of your own story. You remember the laughter that used to bubble up so easily. The dreams that didn't need to be practical. The way you once danced in your socks. Just because the kitchen tiles were cool and the radio was playing your song. You open your eyes again. A moth lands on your sleeve. Its wings are dusted like old parchment. And it stays still, as if listening. I used to wish on stars. You whisper to it, I used to believe I could fly. The moth doesn't fly away. Instead, it slowly folds its wings. As if nodding. And for some reason, you feel understood. Maybe wishes don't die. Maybe they just change shape. Maybe they become moths or folded cranes or the warmth in your chest when you hear a forgotten song. You think back to the train conductor. To his gentle way of holding space for forgotten dreams. To his decision to ride the train after so long sweeping the streets. And something inside you shifts. You don't have to know what comes next. You only need to keep collecting. Not in a greedy way. In a reverent one. Another breeze drifts through the trees. This time it carries music, faint. Drifting notes from a harmonica or maybe a flute. You can't tell which. It doesn't matter. It finds you. Fills your chest like a slow exhale. You begin to walk again. Your box tucked close to your heart. This time, your path leads you through a part of town you don't remember. The street lamps are older, some flickering like eyelids too tired to stay open. Shop windows display items no one seems to be selling anymore, typewriters. Rotary phones, tiny snow globes where the snow only falls if you whisper to it. You pause in front of one window. A sign reads, The Emporium of Lost Beginnings. The door is open. You enter. It smells like old paper and lavender. The air is thick with the warmth of stories waiting to be told. Behind the counter stands an elderly woman with eyes like winter stars. She smiles. You brought something. You hold up your box. She nods once. You may leave it here, if you wish, or carry it further. Either is fine. Nothing is lost that's remembered. You hesitate. You've grown fond of the box. But you also know, maybe it's time to lighten your hands so your heart can carry more. You place it gently on the counter. And in return, the woman hands you a key. What's it for? You ask. She smiles. You'll know when the door finds you. You nod, and as you step outside again, the night feels even wider than before. You have no box now, but your hands don't feel empty. They feel ready. You walk with the key in your hand, turning it slowly between your fingers. It's cold and smooth, with delicate engravings so faint they're nearly invisible, like secret maps or the whisper of tree rings. You don't know what it opens, and strangely, you don't feel the need to. Sometimes, the not knowing is part of the charm. The night around you deepens in hue, like a velvet curtain pulling over the sky. You glance upward and realize the stars have shifted again, not in position, but in brightness. It's as if each one responds to your breath. A constellation winks at you, and you catch yourself smiling. Your feet find cobblestone now, the uneven stones clicking gently beneath your shoes. The air tastes faintly of honey and pine, and each step feels like the start of a sentence you haven't yet written. You come upon a bridge, not a grand one, but quaint, nestled between weeping willows that trail their fingertips into the water. The river below reflects the moon like it's been waiting all day to show it off. You pause at the center of the bridge, lean on the wooden railing, and let your thoughts wander freely. Somewhere far off, a bell chimes, not from a church, but from something older, a clock tower that keeps time not by minutes, but by memories. You imagine that if someone asked you the time right now, you'd say, it's the hour of reflection. That magical sliver between where you've been and where you might go next. You pull the key from your pocket again, run your thumb over its grooves. A what if flutters gently in the back of your mind. What if this key doesn't open a door? What if it unlocks something inside you, a room long closed, filled with forgotten joys and quiet wonders? The thought stays with you as you continue across the bridge and find yourself in a small square. There's a carousel there, unmoving but not asleep. Its painted horses shine under the moonlight, frozen in mid-gallop, as if paused in a dream. You circle it slowly, feeling the memory of motion in your own legs. On the edge of the square, you spot a bench carved from driftwood. Its backrest curls like ocean waves. You sit and lean into it, the way you might lean into a familiar shoulder. A cat appears from under the carousel. Soft gray, eyes bright and unbothered. It hops onto the bench beside you without asking and curls up, purring as if it's known you forever. You laugh softly. Hello. The cat blinks once, a slow and deliberate gesture, as if to say, welcome back. You run your fingers through its fur. The rhythm soothes you, like brushing away cobwebs of thought. It reminds you of a simple truth you often forget. Presence is a form of love. The square begins to shift as you sit there, subtly, gently. Lights dim. Carousel fades. The cat flickers like a passing breeze. But you remain still, breathing in the change. And then the cobblestones beneath your feet ripple, like water catching the wind. You're no longer in the square. Now you stand in front of a tall wooden gate, overgrown with ivy and forget-me-nots. A brass keyhole glints in the moonlight. Your hand moves almost on its own, sliding the key into place. Click. The gate creaks open, not loudly, but like a sigh of relief. Beyond it, a garden glows, not the manicured kind, but the wild kind, where nature writes poetry without punctuation. Fireflies drift like ideas still forming. Ferns sway as if in conversation, and a path of crushed lavender beckons you forward. You walk slowly, inhaling the sweet earth scent of growing things. The air is filled with soft music, though you can't quite tell if it's from birds, or leaves, or something deep beneath the soil humming lullabies. At the center of the garden sits a small greenhouse. It glows from within, and your steps quicken just a little. You open the door, and warm air wraps around you like old stories. Inside are shelves of potted dreams, tiny plants in teacups, vines curling through cracked porcelain, sunflowers that lean as if listening. Each plant has a small tag tied to it. Wishes, regrets, second chances, unspoken apologies. You recognize one. A violet growing in an old coffee mug. You remember that mug. It used to sit on your windowsill, back when you believed mornings were meant for daydreaming. The violet's petals are vibrant. Despite a slight curl on one edge, you touch it gently and feel a quiet forgiveness. Another pot catches your eye, an olive tree sapling growing from an old boot. You grin. That must be someone else's story. But you like it anyway. You walk through the rows of growing memories, each one humming its own quiet tune. Some are flowering, some are still seeds, waiting for warmth and time. And in the corner, just behind a hanging spider plant, you spot a mirror. It's small, oval, framed in brass, but when you look into it, it doesn't show your face. It shows moments. A child handing over a broken toy, hoping it might still be loved. A hand writing a letter never sent. A street sweeper pausing to listen to a stranger's song. The images flicker, soft as candlelight. And then, you see yourself. Not as you are now, but as you are when no one's looking. The you that hums when folding laundry. That lingers over beautiful sentences in books. That cries at commercials and laughs in empty rooms. That dares to dream quietly when the world is too loud. You meet that version of yourself through the mirror. And you nod. The greenhouse light softens. And somewhere, in the rustling of leaves, you hear a whisper. You've never been lost. Just slowly unfolding. You walk back out into the garden. The moon now low on the horizon. The fireflies are fewer, slower. Even the air feels like it's tucking itself in. You don't need the key anymore. What it unlocked was always inside you. You leave the garden behind. The warmth of the greenhouse still lingering like the last notes of a lullaby. The key, now lighter in your pocket, reminds you of something quiet but true. Sometimes, what we carry isn't about opening doors, but about opening ourselves. The path ahead is soft underfoot, a gentle carpet of moss and fallen leaves. It feels like the earth is cushioning your steps, as if inviting you to move slowly, to savor the rhythm of each heartbeat, each breath. You walk without a destination, just letting the night guide you like a tender friend. The trees arch overhead, their branches weaving together into a natural cathedral. You tilt your head back to catch the moonlight filtering through the leaves. It glimmers like liquid silver, each ray a secret thread connecting the stars to the earth. A gentle wind stirs, carrying the scent of rain yet to come. You breathe it in deeply, feeling it fill the spaces where doubt or worry used to live. There's a softness to the air, like a whispered promise that even storms can teach us how to grow. Your fingers brush against the bark of a nearby tree, a wise old oak. Sturdy and patient, you imagine all it has witnessed, seasons of joy and sorrow. Storms that tried to break it, sunlight that helped it flourish. It stands resilient, reminding you that strength can be quiet and still, not always loud or hurried. As you walk, you come across a small pond, its surface smooth as glass, reflecting the moon and stars perfectly. You kneel beside it and gaze into the water, seeing your own reflection shimmer back. But beneath the surface, something stirs, ripples spreading slowly outward. You wonder, what if life is like this pond? Calm on the surface, but always moving beneath, shifting in ways we can't always see? Maybe it's okay to have still moments, even when the world feels like it's spinning too fast. A soft rustle behind you draws your attention. A family of fireflies dances nearby, their tiny lights pulsing like the beat of a secret song. You watch them for a while, marveling at how something so small can create such magic in the dark. One firefly lands gently on your hand, its warmth surprising you. You smile softly, remembering the paper crane you found, the delicate way small things carry big wishes. You let the firefly go and watch as it joins the others. A constellation of flickering hope. You think about the street sweeper who collected dreams, how he found beauty in the smallest moments. How he never rushed, how he believed every life had a story worth hearing. You sit on a nearby rock and close your eyes. The sounds of the night wrap around you, the whisper of leaves, the distant call of an owl, the soft drip of water. It feels like the world is holding its breath with you, sharing a quiet moment of peace. You think about the letters in the box, the glowing pebbles, the shoelace locket, the paper crane, and the key, each one a thread in the tapestry of this night, weaving together stories of kindness, hope, and the courage to keep moving forward. A thought flutters in your mind, gentle and unassuming. What if collecting dreams isn't about holding on tight, but knowing when to let go? Like the leaf you let go of in section 2, floating away on the breeze, not lost, but set free. You rise slowly, feeling lighter than when you arrived. The night around you feels softer, more alive. You tuck your hands into your pockets and continue down the path, knowing that wherever it leads, you're exactly where you need to be. You keep walking, the path beneath your feet turning from moss to soft earth, dotted with tiny wildflowers that seem to glow faintly in the moonlight. Their petals are delicate, almost translucent, like they hold a secret only the night can tell. You bend down to touch one, cool, smooth, and alive with quiet strength. A breeze rustles through the leaves above, carrying with it a hint of something unexpected, fresh bread, lavender, and just a whisper of old books. It's a scent that tugs at your memories, though you can't quite place where it comes from. You wonder if smells hold the key to forgotten moments, like invisible bookmarks in the story of your life. You stroll forward until you find a narrow alley, tucked between two tall buildings covered in ivy. The walls are painted with murals, soft pastel colors, swirls of stars and moons, hands reaching out gently, as if inviting you to step inside a dream. You pause, tracing a painted hand with your finger. It feels like the artist captured a touch meant for you alone. In the middle of the alley sits a small table, draped in a lace cloth, with a steaming teapot and a single cup waiting patiently. You feel an odd warmth in your chest, as if this quiet invitation is exactly what you needed. You pour the tea, and the steam curls upwards like a ribbon, carrying a faint melody you can almost hum along with. You take a sip. The taste is soft, honey, chamomile, and a hint of something wild, like the first rain on dry earth. It settles in your throat, warming you from the inside out. Sitting there, you let your thoughts drift to the street sweeper you've been following, the one who collects dreams. You imagine him here, in this very alley, pausing in his quiet work, sharing a cup of tea with the night itself. You think about his suitcase of letters, the way he listened, and how his heart held space for the hopes and fears of others. Some say that true compassion is rare, a fragile thing in a world rushing past. But maybe it's more like the steady drip of water that shapes stone, slow, patient, and gentle. Perhaps kindness isn't always a grand gesture, but the soft presence that says, "I see you." You let the tea cool in your hands and notice the shadows shifting around you. They aren't frightening, they seem to be watching, Curious and quiet, a silhouette steps forward. A figure wrapped in a shawl of mist. Eyes kind and steady. Without words, the figure offers you a folded letter. The paper is aged, its edges soft from time. You open it carefully, and the words inside are written in a looping script that feels familiar. Like a lullaby you once heard long ago. The letter speaks of journeys, not just of places, but of the heart. It tells of how sometimes the heaviest burdens are carried in silence, and how every small act of understanding can be a beacon in someone's dark. You fold the letter back up and tuck it into your pocket, feeling a gentle reassurance settle in your chest. It's a reminder that you are not alone in your wandering, and that every step you take leaves an imprint of grace behind. As you rise from the table, you glance back at the alley. The murals seem to shimmer, the painted hands waving softly goodbye. You smile and whisper, "Thank you." The path opens ahead, bathed now in the first blush of dawn, a soft pink light that promises new beginnings. You walk toward it, carrying the quiet strength of the night, the warmth of tea, and the letter's gentle wisdom tucked close to your heart. The dawn's light pours over the horizon like melted gold, spilling gently through the branches and spilling onto your skin. You feel the warmth seep into your bones, a quiet invitation to wakefulness, but one that carries no urgency. The world around you breathes slowly, as if stretching after a long, peaceful sleep. You pause for a moment, your eyes catching a single feather drifting down from a nearby tree. It twirls and spins, light as a sigh, and lands softly at your feet. You pick it up and turn it over in your hand, marveling at how something so fragile can carry such grace. The street sweeper's suitcase comes back to mind, filled with letters and dreams. Small fragments of life he carefully gathered. You wonder what stories this feather might tell if it could speak. Maybe it's from a bird that has seen the sunrise 1,000 times. Or maybe it's a messenger, carrying hope to those who need it most. You tuck the feather into your jacket pocket. Alongside the letter, the key, the paper crane, each object now feels like a companion. A piece of a puzzle slowly revealing itself. Ahead, the path narrows and winds between ancient stones, moss-covered and worn smooth by countless footsteps. You run your fingers over one of the stones, feeling the coolness beneath your palm. It's as if the stone holds the memories of everyone who has ever walked this path, a soft echo of all their hopes and fears. You take a deep breath, inhaling the scent of earth and dew, and feel a gentle stirring inside you, a quiet courage, like the first flutter of wings beneath a heavy sky. You think about the street sweeper again, how he moved through the world with humble kindness, never rushing, always noticing. Some say courage is loud and brash, but maybe true courage is like the feather, light, quiet, and full of resilience. The sound of distant bells drifts through the air, delicate and clear, like laughter caught on the wind. You follow the sound, your steps guided by its gentle rhythm until you reach a small chapel nestled in a grove of trees. The doors are open, inviting, and you step inside. The air smells faintly of cedar and old paper, comforting and familiar. Light filters through stained glass windows, casting a kaleidoscope of colors that dance on the wooden pews. You find a seat near the front and close your eyes. In the quiet, you feel the weight of the world settle away, like a soft blanket tucked around your shoulders. Here, in this sacred space, you realize that every life, no matter how ordinary it seems, holds a kind of holiness, a quiet dignity that shines brightest in the darkest moments. You imagine the street sweeper sitting here too, resting from his journey, surrounded by the whispers of dreams he has collected. You feel a warmth spread through you, a connection to something larger than yourself. A reminder that you are part of a vast, unfolding story. You open your eyes and notice a small book on the bench beside you. It's worn, with a leather cover softened by time. You pick it up and open it at random. Inside, you find a single phrase written in delicate script. Compassion is the light that never dims. You smile softly, feeling the truth of those words settle deep inside. It's a gentle beacon, a quiet call to keep carrying kindness, no matter where your path leads. You step back outside, the morning sun now fully awake, bathing the grove in golden light. You tuck the book into your bag, feeling ready to continue, ready to live with open hands and an open heart. The morning unfolds around you like a slow, blooming flower, each petal opening with soft grace. You walk forward, feeling the light shift and play across your skin. Warming and steady, the air tastes fresh and full of promise, as if the whole world is holding its breath in anticipation. You notice a narrow stream beside the path, its water clear and singing softly over smooth stones. You kneel down and dip your fingers in, feeling the cool rush swirl between your knuckles. The stream feels alive, like a gentle voice murmuring secrets only those who listen closely can understand. You watch as the water carries leaves and petals downstream, twirling and dancing on the surface. It's a quiet ballet, effortless and unhurried. You think about how sometimes life moves like this stream, carrying pieces of us along its course. Whether we hold on or let go, the thought brings a subtle smile to your lips. You imagine the street sweeper standing beside this very stream, gathering not just dreams, but the stories and sorrows that float quietly beneath the surface. Maybe he sees beauty in the way water carries what it cannot keep, teaching us that release is part of grace. Some say letting go is loss, but maybe it's also a kind of gift, like the leaf you once released, drifting free on the wind. What if the act of release creates space for new dreams to take root? You follow the stream as it curves gently through a meadow, wildflowers nodding in the soft breeze like old friends greeting you. The colors are muted, lavender, cream, pale blue, like a watercolor painting come to life. You breathe deeply, tasting the sweetness of the earth and the delicate perfume of blossoms. In the meadow, you spot a figure sitting quietly on a blanket, surrounded by jars filled with fireflies. The light from the tiny creatures flickers softly, like the last stars of a fading night. The figure smiles warmly and gestures for you to join. You settle beside them, feeling the cool grass beneath you and the gentle hum of life all around. The fireflies are silent messengers, carrying the light of hope in their fragile bodies. You watch them, fascinated by how such small sparks can hold such power against the darkness. The figure begins to speak, their voice a gentle rhythm weaving through the quiet air. They talk about dreams, how some are fragile, some fierce, all precious. They tell stories of people who dared to believe in the impossible, who found courage in the softest places. You listen, feeling the truth of their words settle into your bones like warm rain. There's a quiet strength here, in the shared breath of hope and kindness. It reminds you of the street sweeper's suitcase, how each letter was a small act of faith in the goodness of the world. When the figure falls silent, you realize the fireflies have started to rise, drifting upward in a slow, glowing swirl. You watch as they ascend toward the sky, becoming stars in a growing constellation. You sit back and let the light fill you, soft, steady, unbreakable. You think about the journey you've taken tonight, the lessons gathered like pebbles in your pocket. You feel a gentle certainty that no matter where life leads, the light you carry within is enough. You stand and watch the fireflies disappear into the dawn, their tiny lamps guiding you forward. You begin to walk again, the meadow behind you and the path ahead, open and inviting. The path ahead feels softer now, as if the earth itself has decided to cradle your footsteps. You walk through a grove of silver birches, their slender trunks shimmering faintly in the early light, leaves whispering secrets only the wind understands. The gentle rustling is like a lullaby, coaxing you to slow your pace, to breathe deeper. You notice how the dappled light plays upon the ground, scattering golden patches that flicker like fleeting dreams caught between moments. It's a reminder that life, much like this light, is made up of brief, beautiful flashes, sometimes bright, sometimes shadowed, but always moving forward. As you move through the grove, a soft drizzle begins, not harsh, but gentle, like the earth's quiet blessing. The drops kiss your skin and soak into the soil, blending with the scent of damp moss and wild thyme. You close your eyes for a moment, feeling the rain's delicate rhythm, a quiet melody that speaks of renewal. You think of the street sweeper's suitcase again, the collection of letters, dreams, and memories he carries with such care. It's as if his heart is a vessel for the world's gentle stories, a repository for the soft sighs and quiet hopes often overlooked. Some say that tenderness is weakness, but maybe it's more like this rain, soft enough to soothe, persistent enough to nurture growth beneath the surface. Perhaps kindness is the unseen water that helps even the smallest seeds bloom. You open your eyes and spot a narrow wooden bridge arching over a slow-moving creek. The wood is worn smooth, and the handrails feel warm beneath your palms. You step onto the bridge and pause, gazing down into the clear water where smooth stones rest, their edges softened by time. In the water, you see reflections, not just of the sky and trees, but of yourself. Your image ripples gently with each drop of rain. Distorted but unbroken, you lean closer and catch your breath as a small fish darts past. A silver flash of life thriving in the quiet depths. The reflection reminds you of the layered nature of your own self, sometimes clear, sometimes shifting, but always present. You wonder about the street sweeper again, about the quiet strength it must take to hold space for others' dreams without losing oneself. You step off the bridge and continue, feeling lighter somehow, as if the rain has washed away more than just dust and leaves. You carry with you the rhythm of the drizzle, the shimmer of birch bark, and the flicker of the fish's silver scales. Ahead, the trees begin to thin, revealing a gentle hill crowned with wild grasses that sway like a sea under a soft breeze. You climb slowly, each step steady and sure, until you reach the top. From here, the landscape stretches wide, a patchwork of fields, forests, and distant rooftops bathed in the soft glow of morning. You stand still, letting the vastness fill you, and feel a deep calm settle into your chest. You think about how the street sweeper walks this earth, quiet and unassuming, yet touching so many lives in subtle ways. His suitcase of letters isn't just a collection of paper, it's a testament to the power of noticing, listening, and holding space. You smile softly and whisper to the wind, "Thank you for this journey." The sun has fully risen now, casting a warm, golden light that wraps around you like a soft shawl. You stand at the crest of the hill, feeling the breeze stir your hair and carry the scent of wildflowers and fresh earth. It's a moment suspended between waking and dreaming, where time seems to pause just long enough for you to breathe in all that is good. You think back to the street sweeper, how he moved quietly through the world, gathering fragments of hope and kindness with the gentle care of someone who understands the weight of dreams. His suitcase, once heavy with letters and wishes, now feels like a symbol of something far greater, the invisible threads that connect us all. As you begin your descent down the hill, the grass brushing softly against your legs, you realize that this journey, like life itself, is a tapestry woven from small moments of attention and compassion. Each step forward is an act of trust, a quiet promise to keep moving even when the path is uncertain. The sky above shifts slowly, the light softening as clouds drift lazily, like ships sailing across a vast, endless sea. You wonder about the stories still waiting to be told, the dreams yet to be discovered. Perhaps, like the street sweeper, you carry your own suitcase, filled not with letters, but with the echoes of kindness you've given and received. Some say the world is a place of noise and hurry, but maybe it's also a place of stillness and grace, if only you choose to see it. What if the true journey isn't about reaching a destination, but about learning to walk gently, with open eyes and an open heart? You pause at the bottom of the hill, where a small bench invites you to sit and rest. As you settle onto the wooden seat, you feel the pulse of the earth beneath you, a steady, grounding rhythm that connects you to everything around. You close your eyes, letting the sounds of birdsong and distant laughter wash over you like a warm embrace. In this quiet, you find a deep peace, a soft place to land after a long day of wandering. You reach into your pocket and touch the feather, the letter, the paper crane, all tokens of the journey you've shared tonight. They remind you that even the smallest acts of care can light the darkest nights. And as you breathe out slowly, you carry with you the street sweeper's quiet wisdom, that to collect dreams is to believe in the gentle power of kindness, and that every soul you meet is carrying their own suitcase of stories, waiting to be held with compassion. You smile, knowing that the journey continues, soft, steady, and full of light. Now, as the day softly folds into night, you find yourself cradled in the quiet arms of peace. The gentle rustle of leaves outside your window whispers lullabies of rest and renewal. Your breath slows, each inhale a warm wave, each exhale a soft sigh releasing the weight of the day. Imagine yourself floating gently, like a feather on a calm stream, carried effortlessly by a current of gentle dreams. The sky above is a deep indigo blanket sprinkled with silver stars. Their quiet twinkle a promise of hope and calm. With each heartbeat, you sink deeper into a space where worries dissolve, and the mind quiets into stillness. You feel safe, held by the softness of night's embrace, your spirit wrapped in a tender cocoon of warmth. Know that the kindness you've carried, like the street sweeper's letters, will linger with you, quiet sparks of light to guide your way when dawn comes again. Thank you for sharing this journey with me. May your dreams be sweet, your heart be light, and your morning gentle. Good night, and sweet dreams.